What is Scotland's strategy to become a global leader in green and sustainable finance?
So we were one of the leading contributors to the Green and Sustainable Finance Task Force report. It highlighted four key areas, a number of other recommendations, but four key areas. One was, how can our industry work with government to make sure there is a pipeline of projects, climate transition projects, and we've been working closely, given it's a devolved issue, with the Scottish Government around setting up an investment unit within government, helping them think about what investors are looking for. And a lot of this will culminate in a global investment summit that we're running later on this year in October, in partnership with the City of London Corporation. And that one of the key themes is going to be around funding of the just transition. Second area is around how do we sell Scotland as a location for green and sustainable finance. We have a strong track record, particularly in the asset management space, where we have a disproportionately large number of assets under management in the green and sustainable finance area. But also, of course, going back to the point with universities, we've got a number of universities who are focused on that area. Skills and training is another one where we within SFE are working very hard with universities and schools and colleges around explaining to young people the careers that there are within our industry. But particularly within that, given we know that young people's interest in the whole ESG and finance area, then how do we explain to them the type of jobs and how the pathways into our industry, if that's an area that they are particularly interested in. We have a world-leading energy sector. Of course, that's going through its own transition, but the opportunities and the natural resources that we have in Scotland here, particularly in obviously in offshore wind, a good example, nature, provide great opportunities for investors here in Scotland. And given some of the challenges in the US at the moment around that type of investment, then again, we think that provides Scotland with a really good opportunity.
Why is Scotland so attractive to the middle office?
One of the other themes that we saw happening across the globe is firms reducing the number of centres that they have into larger regional centres. And we've seen that here in Scotland, where BlackRock are in the process of increasing their headcount by 30 to 40% over the course of the next year. Barclays gone from nothing to over 6,500 people now in a big regional centre based in Glasgow, which is a fully operational unit covering everything from retail banking, corporate, commercial, middle office, back office, etc. And some global roles sitting there. And the reason I say that is because as firms look to where they're going to regionalise and concentrate, then they're looking at a few things. One, again, talent is one of the top reasons to come here. Cost of doing business is, as I already said, the wage arbitrage opportunity, but bluntly, just the cost of office accommodation is far lower here than it would be elsewhere, particularly in London and in this instance. Workers entering the workplace are looking for a different way of life. And there's been a real trend we've seen in commutable cities, and Edinburgh is very commutable in that respect. Within half an hour you can be out in the middle of the countryside quite comfortably. So people are looking for that quality of life as well. The fourth thing is our ecosystem. We go back hundreds of years, but our financial and professional services ecosystem has everything, whether it's from private equity, venture capital, right through to asset management. And of course, the maturity of our professional services sector is a real attraction. So if you come and set up here, there's actually a really strong ecosystem that you can plug yourself into quite easily. So those are the main reasons that firms come here.
How does Edinburgh fit into the UK financial services?
We benchmarked against a number of, say, our T2 centres, but a very close proximity to our Tier 1 centres. So we looked at places like Montreal, we looked at Boston, Melbourne, Busan, we also looked at Luxembourg and Dublin. And one of the things that became clear was, one is Tier 1 centre needs a very strong Tier 2 centre. They bring different assets to the overall proposition of that overall location, in this case the UK. But secondly is it's also the Tier 2 centre really understands what its assets are and its relationship with, in our instance, the capital of London. So we're not competing against London. We would say we complement London. And we through our relationships with City UK, City of London, Investment Association, then that's how we get and cultivate our relationship with London. And we use that relationship with London as an advantage. It's in both our interests to attract attract investment and jobs to the UK, but for different reasons, firms may choose to come and base themselves in Scotland. With regards to Brexit, Brexit was a bigger impact on London because of the nature of the jobs that London has. If you think about the reasons that we've talked about why firms are based here in Scotland, Brexit is not such a big factor. Our big organisations up here in a UK sense are pretty much UK domestic banks, life pensions firms, etc., wealth managers, and therefore Brexit did not directly impact where they've been based their operations. Hence the reason why you've got someone like Lloyds Banking Group just announcing at the end of last year another 200 million plus investment here in Edinburgh in terms of their offices and premises. And asset managers, of course, because of Brexit, they had been planning for that for a long time, predominantly using Dublin and Luxembourg as a way of managing the impact of that.
What does the Royal Bank of Scotland's return to independence mean for Scotland?
I think it's hugely symbolic. The Royal Bank of Scotland in some ways became, the lightning rod of the financial crisis 17, 18 years ago. And the fact that the UK government finally sold down its final state just a week or two ago was hugely important. I think that the organisation itself has obviously changed hugely over that period of time, including now being the NatWest Group. The Royal Bank of Scotland continues to be the brand here in Scotland, but the organisation has moved on. But symbolically, that's really important. Clearly, changed. Edinburgh in particular has had to reshape itself as a financial centre. We go back to 2007. We had two banks. We had HBOS and the Royal Bank of Scotland, which were global banks, those days are not going to come back. We are a different financial services industry now here in Scotland. We've got different strengths, different assets, and we'll play to those strengths and assets to allow us to be successful.